Hi, so you've got yourself a Chromebook. We're going to be talking about the basics of a Chromebook and how it differs from a Windows laptop. So, first of all, when you first open up your Chromebook, you're going to be taken to this login screen, and you're going to have the ability to add your first user. And what you're going to do here is you're going to sign in to the Chromebook with your SIS number at myunit5.org. So, the same thing that you use for your Gmail address. And then you're going to use the password that you have on your Google account. And that's what you're going to use to set up your user account for the Chromebook. It's easy as that. Once you're signed in, everything related to Google is going to be on that device. So it's going to know your Google Drive information. It's going to pull in your Gmail. It's going to have everything that's associated with your Google account. Now, when you come back to this login screen, when you restart or when you sign out, you're going to have the ability to add multiple users to the Chromebook. So if for some reason you wanted to add another Google account to the Chromebook, you would do that here. And then right next to that, you have the ability to also browse as a guest. So if you're ever going to loan your machine to somebody, maybe they don't have their device on them right then, have them, sign out yourself and then have them browse as a guest. That will allow them to access their materials once they sign into things, but then nothing will get saved on your device at all. Okay, so that's login. Next, you have your home screen. This looks a little cluttered now, but I'm just going to show you some things, and then I'm going to actually get out of the presentation and show you the stuff on the Chromebook itself. So first, I guess what you should note down here in the lower right-hand corner, you're going to have your profile picture pop up. And if you click anywhere in this area, you're going to get a little box that pops up that allows you to do some things with the system side of your Chromebook. It's where you can sign out. It's where you can connect to the internet when you get home or when you're at school. Your shutdown button is going to be right here as well. And you can also adjust like your volume and things from this little menu. You also have a big sign out button right next to that you can use. Okay, then along the bottom, we have this thing called the app shelf. And this should look pretty familiar to you from a Windows laptop. You can pin your favorite apps to this little area right here. And we'll go through doing that in just a minute so that you can have quick access to some of the programs that you use most often. And then all the way to the left, instead of having a little Windows key or Windows icon, there's this little circle. And when you click on that, that is going to open up this main menu, this main box in the middle of your screen. And from here, you're going to be able to find all of the apps that are located on the Chromebook. And you can also search for anything from here. You can use this as your regular Google search. And then it'll pull up Chrome and it'll search Google. You can also type in the names of apps or extensions in here. And if it's on the Chromebook already, it'll go and find that. Or maybe your teacher is asking you to install a new app or a new extension. You can type it in here and it'll pop up for you to go and find that on the web. Now, if you have an app here that you want to put down into your app shelf at the bottom, you can two-finger click, which is the same as right-clicking on a Chromebook, and you'll have the option to pin it to the shelf. And I'll show you these things right now. Okay, so here is my Chromebook. Down in the lower right-hand corner, here is that menu that I was talking about. And you can see this is where I can sign out, I can shut down, adjust my volume, play with the Wi-Fi, change my network, that kind of stuff. We have the app shelf along the bottom where I have a few programs already pinned down there. And then you have your kind of main menu button. And this opens up the little Google main menu. And these are all the apps that I have on my Chromebook right now. If I wanted to pin any of them to the app shelf at the bottom, I can two-finger tap or two-finger click, and I'll get a little menu to pop up, and then you can pin one of these to the shelf. So I'm going to use this activity light one here in a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that down at the bottom. And you can see it appear down here. And I can two-finger click down here as well and unpin it if I want to. Okay. So I can take those on and move them away. Okay, let's go back into our presentation here. So the next thing to talk about is the touchpad itself. For the most part, this is like any other touchpad that you've used. A single click, you can just tap or you can press fully onto the touchpad. The big difference here, especially if you're coming from a Windows device, is that there is no left and right button on the trackpad. It's all just one big button. So if you want to do a right click, you're instead going to either tap or press the touchpad with two fingers, and that's going to be your right click. And I showed you what that looks like just a few moments ago. You also can scroll using two fingers by pressing them onto the touchpad and then scrolling or moving them up or down. I'm doing that right now, and you can see I'm moving through my presentation slides. You can do that up or down. You can also do that left to right. And then this last item here is to drag and drop. With a Windows trackpad, you may be used to clicking on the button, the left click button, and then moving your finger along the trackpad. The same idea works here on the Chromebook. There just aren't any physical buttons at the bottom of the trackpad. The whole thing, the whole trackpad is a button in and of itself. So you can click in any spot on the trackpad and then use a second finger to move and drag that item around. It takes some getting used to and just playing with the trackpad, but those are just some simple tips. And then the keyboard, again, for the most part, is the same as any keyboard that you've ever worked with before. It does have a new row of buttons at the very top. A Windows laptop is going to have the F keys, F1, F2, F3, and you don't have those on a Chromebook. Instead, you have these dedicated buttons that you see here on the screen. So you have a back and forward arrow, you have a reload button, you have a maximize and a switch to the next window. I'll demonstrate what those do here in just a moment. They are two that are a little different than a Windows machine. And then the rest of the buttons can increase or decrease your screen brightness and your volume. So really fast, the maximize your window and switch to the next screen buttons. So first I'm going to use that maximize window button. And you'll see here what happens. So I'm just in Chrome. When I hit that button, that Chrome window gets much larger. You hide the top bar here and you hide the bottom shelf, and all you see is the application that you're in. In this case, that's Chrome. So you can see it gives you a lot more screen real estate to play around with when you maximize things. Okay, and then for the next button, that's the switch to the next window button. I'm going to go ahead and open up this second little app here. So now I have two things open at one time. If I press that button, you'll see it puts these two things side to side. And if I had 3 or 4 different applications running, you would see all of them in this little window. And then you can choose which one you'd like to bring into focus. So that button is a little different than what we're used to in Windows. Now the last thing on this page that kind of has to do with the keyboard is that there's this new key on the left side that replaces what's typically the caps lock key. And it's a search button, a search key. And when you press that, it's going to open up that same main menu that you get if you click on that little icon in the lower left-hand corner of your home screen. So this replaces the caps lock, and both staff and students, some people absolutely love the caps lock. So that may take some getting used to here. You can still caps lock if you want to. And to do that, all you do is hold the Alt key And on our picture here, you can see the Alt key right next to the space bar. You hold that, and then you press that same button, that same search key button, and that turns caps lock on. And you can see that little menu pop up here at the bottom to let us know it's on. You press it again, and it'll turn caps lock back off. So that's something you'll have to get used to as well if you normally use caps lock. All right, and then one of the last things to talk about here that is a useful tool that people use with their Windows machines a lot is taking screenshots. So in order to take a screenshot using your keyboard on a Chromebook, you would press and hold the Control key and then press that next window button that we were just playing around with. And that will, and I'll do it right now, that will capture the entire screen. And you'll see that when you do that, it'll give you this little pop-up in the corner that'll say, hey, you've taken a screenshot. You can either click here and show the image in your folder, the actual downloads folder on the Chromebook, and then you can do whatever you want with that image. For example, you could drag it into My Drive so that you have access to it in your Google Drive. The other option that you have there is that you can just instantly copy it to the clipboard. So I could copy that screenshot I just took, and now that I'm here in this presentation, I could paste it right onto my presentation. All right, so you can see how that works. This is a very useful tool for our students because this allows you to take quick images of things from the web that you may want to put into a presentation or into a Google Doc. You can snap a screenshot of it and then just kind of crop it down until it looks exactly how you want, and then that can go right into your piece of work. Now, sometimes you don't want to take a picture of the entire screen, so you can also hold down Control and Shift and press that same button. And now you get to choose what area of the screen you want to select. And then that's what's going to be saved, and that's what you can copy and paste. So those are the basic tools of a Chromebook and kind of how they differ from a Windows machine. All in all, you're really just thinking of this device as a regular laptop that uses Chrome for pretty much everything. And most of the stuff that we do in Unit 5 happens within Chrome. It happens on the web. It happens within our Google Drives. It happens using our Google productivity tools. So there's not going to be a huge shift in what we're able to do with these Chromebooks. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to contact your district instructional coaches, and they'll be happy to show you some Chromebooks and walk you through any of the little details about Chromebooks that you may want to know. Thanks for watching.